With all the dangerous things in the world, the last thing you want to worry about is what could enter your body, take up residence, and start growing. While your skin does a good job keeping invaders out, we've all got fatal flaws that can allow something in. Depending on what gets in, your body only has so many defenses to ward off the problem. And on rare occasions, people find impossible things in their body with zero defenses to ward it off. While we fortunately have doctors who can operate and remove the interlopers, it doesn't remove the fear of creatures playing house in our vital organs. You ready to find out what could lie beneath? I'm Mike with List 25, and here are 25 disturbingly bizarre things found inside people. 25. Pea plant in lung. Ron Svedin originally thought he had cancer after a consistent battle with emphysema. But after being rushed to the hospital due to a collapsed lung, doctors discovered a half-an-inch pea plant growing in his lung. They believe that Mr. Svedin ate the pea, but somehow it went down the wrong way and sprouted. One of the first meals I had at the hospital after the surgery had peas for the vegetables. I laughed to myself and ate them, said Mr. Svedin to a local Boston TV reporter. 24. Fir Tree in lung. If you thought the half-inch pea plant was something, just wait, because Artyom Sidorkin might have outdone him slightly. Mr. Sidorkin went to the hospital with extreme chest pains and was coughing blood. Doctors were 100% sure he had cancer. However, during surgery, doctors found a 2-inch fir tree growing in his lung. Reports say that doctors thought they were hallucinating and could hardly believe what they were seeing. The medical staff believed that Sidorkin inhaled a seed which made its way into his lung and sprouted the tree. 23. Belt in chest. What doctors in India originally thought was a classic case of tuberculosis turned out to be something completely bizarre. Anuj Ranjan had been diagnosed with a fistula, which doctors believed was created due to an infection in his chest cavity. However, when they went to do surgery on his chest, they discovered an 8-foot-long belt. Apparently, the belt entered his body when he suffered a bad car accident years before. The doctors that had treated him then somehow missed the belt. 22. Sea snail in knee. When 4-year-old Paul Franklin fell at the beach and scraped his knee, no one thought much of it. However, 2 weeks later, the knee became infected. Doctors originally thought it was a staph infection and treated Paul with antibiotics. However, the treatment failed to completely clear up the infection, so his mother took matters into her own hands and pinched the wound. To their surprise, out came a small black rock. Except, it wasn't a black rock, but a small sea snail. The boy kept the snail and named it Turbo. 21. Fish in lung. While playing in a river in India, a boy accidentally inhaled a 9-centimeter fish, which ended up in his lung. When the doctors performed a bronchoscopy, the fish was still alive. 20. Dandelion in ear. In China, a full-grown dandelion was found by doctors in the ear of an 18-month-old girl. It had grown to 2 centimeters and completely filled the canal wall. Fun fact, when I was about 9 or 10, I was at a restaurant with my mom and she leans over to me and goes, "You have ketchup in your ear." Sure enough, I do this and there was ketchup in my ear. I don't know how ketchup got there. I don't eat like this, but it was there. 19. Worm in eye. John Matthew from Cedar Rapids, Iowa was going blind. When he went to see the doctors, they discovered he had a raccoon worm in his eye which was eating the retina. As the doctors tried to kill it with a laser, Matthew said he could see the worm wriggling away from it, trying to survive. Luckily, he caught it in time. If left unchecked, the worm could have eventually killed him. 18. Spider in stomach. While on holiday in Bali, a spider burrowed its way through an appendix scar on Dylan Maxwell's stomach and traveled up his torso from his navel to his chest, creating a long red line in the process. The tropical stowaway lived inside Mr. Maxwell for a period of 3 days before doctors in Australia finally had it removed. "Haven't felt so violated in my life before. Just glad it's all over," Maxwell said. 17. Maggots in scalp. A summer trip to Belize had some frightening consequences for a Colorado man. After several bumps appeared on his scalp, Aaron Dallas went to the doctors to have them checked out. He said when he touched the bumps, he could feel them moving, but thought it was just blood pumping. He couldn't have been more wrong. Doctors found that these bumps were actually botfly maggots. 5 of them to be exact.
16.
Maggots in ear. Speaking of maggots, doctors in Kazakhstan found something extremely disturbing in a boy's ear. The boy went to the doctors complaining of an earache, but when a doctor looked inside, he found live maggots. 12 1-centimeter long blowfly maggots were removed and placed in the metal pan. If left untreated, the flesh-eating maggots could have traveled to his brain and killed him. As disturbing as this is, Adi Adbigbekova, deputy director of the Kazakhstan Scientific Researching Veterinarian Institute, said the case was not unique, meaning this happens often. Yikes.
15.
Tapeworm in brain. Rosemary Alvarez thought she had a brain tumor. When the doctors went to operate, they discovered instead that she had a tapeworm attached to her brainstem. They were able to remove it and she made a full recovery. Apparently, she got the worm after eating food tainted with human feces.
14.
Eel in anus. In a prank gone horribly wrong, an eel found its way up a man's anus. Allegedly, the victim's friends inserted the Asian swamp eel into his backside. However, the eel swam into the man's body and disappeared. The poor man had to go into surgery where doctors were able to remove the eel without any permanent damage, except maybe for the man's pride.
13.
So painful for the patient. The machine was detecting a significant piece of metal inside of Sanchez, and we know metal and MRI machines simply don't mix. Later, as Sanchez was
12.
Fish in urethra. In what is probably one of the weirdest medical cases, a 14-year-old boy from India had a 2-centimeter long fish stuck in his penis. After cleaning out his fish tank, the 14-year-old boy was holding the fish in his hand while relieving himself. The fish then slipped from his hand, swam up his urethra, and got stuck there. The doctors were able to retrieve it with tools normally used for the removal of bladder stones. The child was later admitted into counseling to deal with any psychological trauma.
11.
Ball of hair in stomach. A teenage girl went to the doctor because she couldn't drink without becoming sick. When the doctors performed surgery on her stomach, they were surprised to find a 9-pound ball of hair. The girl suffers from trichophagia, in which she eats hair obsessively.
10.
Larva in eye. Botflies use mosquitoes as vectors to lay their eggs in humans. Once the mosquitoes bite a human, the botfly's eggs drop onto the skin where they hatch and quickly burrow into the mosquito bite hole. The larvae can develop anywhere the eggs wind up, even if it so happens to be in the eye of a person, which is what happened to a 5-year-old in Honduras. The poor lad had to be put under anesthesia in order to surgically remove the botfly from his eye.
9.
Spider in ear. A Chinese woman checked into a hospital complaining about an itchy ear. I'm noticing a pattern here with earaches. When doctors investigated, they were surprised to find a spider taking up residence inside. To remove it, they used a saline solution to flush it out.
8.
Magnets in stomach. An 8-year-old ended up in the emergency room complaining of stomach pain. When they did an x-ray, they discovered a stack of magnets and batteries in her stomach. They had to remove them through surgery, and she lost 10 centimeters of her intestines due to damage.
7.
Cockroach in ear. When a 60-year-old man found a cockroach crawling around in his ear canal, he did everything he could to kill it, including using toothpicks and tweezers. Finally, he sprayed a pesticide inside his ear and won the battle, but its dead carcass remained stuck in his ear. Of course, it got swollen and infected, and doctors had to surgically remove it.
6.
Inseminated squids in mouth. You might not believe this, but a 63-year-old woman became pregnant with 12 baby squids after eating calamari. The woman ate the squid's sperm sac and became inseminated in her mouth with multiple tiny squids. She said it felt like a prickling sensation all over her gums and teeth, and when the doctors examined her, they found baby cephalopods attached to her mouth. The doctors were able to remove the babies.
5.
Coke bottle in anus. A Chinese man went to the hospital complaining about stomach pains. When the doctors inquired about potential causes, the man claimed not to know. However, when doctors performed an x-ray, They discovered a Coke bottle and a hook wire in his anus. The man then confessed that he stuck the Coke bottle up there, but when he couldn't get it out, he tried using the wire to remove it, which got stuck as well. Doctors were forced to operate to remove the foreign objects.
4.
Maggots in skin. You won't believe what happened to this poor Australian couple. Brian Williams and Ali Vaugh were vacationing in South America when they got the most unpleasant surprise. They found disgusting, oozing pustules on their skin, which contained small flesh-eating maggots. The maggots were that of the human botfly, and as I discussed earlier, they enter a human host via mosquito bites. The couple got medical attention and were fine afterwards.
3.
Parasites in kidney and bladder. At age 76, Hannah Fulginova came to the hospital with a severe stomach pain. When doctors performed surgery on her kidneys, they discovered she had a 3.9-inch long parasite living inside. They also found a 2.4-inch long worm in her bladder. Though doctors were able to remove both worms, Fulginova was too weak to recover from the procedure and sadly died. It's believed the worm entered Hannah's body through badly cooked fish.
2.
Medical instrument in stomach. After having a hysterectomy, Sylvie Dubé experienced extreme pain similar to being stabbed. Doctors reassured her it was normal, but when the pain continued after 2 months, she had an x-ray done. Doctors found a metal plate 30 centimeters long in her stomach. The plate is used to protect her during surgery and is the last surgical item to be removed, except it wasn't in her case.
1.
Twin living inside man. This story is truly horrifying. Sanju Bhagat's stomach was abnormally large. At one point his stomach was so swollen he could have been mistaken for being pregnant. One night, after some breathing complications, Sanju was rushed to the hospital. The doctors thought he had a tumor, but when they went to operate, they discovered he had a person living inside of him. You heard that right, a person. It turns out he was the victim of a rare case of fetus in fetu, which is a fetus getting trapped inside a twin and acting like a parasite, feeding off the person. After the surgery, which, according to accounts, horrified, confused, and amazed doctors, Bhagat made a full recovery and now lives a normal life. Enjoying our lists? Be sure to click that subscribe button in the bottom right so you don't miss out on new ones every Monday through Friday. Share them with your friends and help us consistently conciliate curiosity. And if you want even more lists, check out these 3 videos here or just head to our website at list25.com.